for Joe Rogan and Jon Stewart to sit there and talk about bullshit that they have no comprehension of because they're standing on top of the fan looking down going, well, I don't understand. It's spinning counterclockwise to us. Why is it spinning clockwise to you? Again, until these fucking bitches want to give up all of their money except for what they want me to live on, you're a fucking asshole, hypocrite motherfucker. Because there's not one of you works fucking harder than me. Welcome back, everybody! So, this has been a slow news week, other than, you know, Father's Day weekend. A bunch of black fathers died and a bunch of black sons died. BLM didn't say anything about that. Bubba Smollett, aka Noosie Wallace, aka Noosie Smollett. There was this NASCAR guy. I think his name was Noosie Bubba Smollett, Wallace, Smollett, something like that. You know, claimed that there was a noose. Somebody put a noose in my garage. Oh, it was a hate crime. Wasted all the FBI's time. 14 FBI members went there and went, dude, see this rope? It's a little tiny skinny rope. It was almost the exact same size rope as what Jussie Smollett claimed that they wrapped around his neck. So it's to open and close the garage doors. And it had been there for who knows how many years. They tied a loop in the end so that you can grab the loop and pull down on the loop instead of having to wrap your hand around the cord and pull down on the cord. So, anyway, that happened, and then I watched Jon Stewart on Joe Rogan. So, like I said in my review of Dave Chappelle's 846, Joe Rogan is one of my top 3 favorite comedians ever. So it's, you know, it's Bill Burr, it's Dave Chappelle, and it's Joe Rogan. I mean, these are like my 3 favorite guys of all time. And in the last week and a half, 2 of them are saying such stupid shit that I'm like, dude, what the hell are you idiots smoking? But this is what happens when you get rich. Your sense of the world shifts. So, you know, like in my sales management courses, they used to say, hey, look, if there's a ceiling fan and you're standing on top of it, when you're looking down, the fan is going counterclockwise. But the people on the bottom looking up, the fan is going clockwise. And that's exactly what has happened to the Jon Stewarts of the world and the Dave Chappelles and, unfortunately, Joe Rogan. Because Joe Rogan, I mean, his whole time, he's just, you can tell he's such a big fan of Jon Stewart that he has lost the ability to be objective. He doesn't stand up to one bullshit thing that Jon Stewart says, and as a matter of fact, agrees with Jon Stewart before he even makes a point. Like, Jon Stewart will say something stupid like, well, the prospects of the culture, agriculturally, and Joe Rogan's already like, yeah, I totally agree. It's like, dude, you haven't even fucking heard what he's saying. How are you already agreeing when you haven't even prefaced what he's gonna say? So, I listened to like the first 45, maybe 50 minutes of this and just had to turn it off because it's such nonsensical bullshit. Like Joe Rogan says, well, you know, I don't understand why people just won't give up 25% more of their earnings every year if it makes the world a 50% better place to live. Like, that is the dumbest fuck thing I've ever heard in my life. There is no way in my life that if I give up 25%, I make under $100,000 a year. And until Joe Rogan wants to give up all of his money except for, let's say, he only has to give up let's say $75,000 a year. Until Joe Rogan wants to give up all of his money except for $75,000 a year, he has no fucking idea what he is talking about. I guarantee you, I work harder than Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan ain't out on roofs in San Bernardino in 115 degree weather where all the thermostats on all those hot black pipes say 160. You can't fucking touch them. You have to wear long sleeves even though it's 115 degrees. Guarantee you Joe Rogan doesn't know shit about that. Do that for 8 hours, motherfucker. Then tell me I have to give up 25% of my pay to make the world 50% better. Bitch, do you understand how stupid you sound to the other 99% of America? And Joe Rogan and Jon Stewart will be the first ones to stand up and be like, dude, we need to stick up for all these people that can't afford $1,000 emergency in their life. Imagine if you take away 25% of their pay. Now they're not even going to be able to afford a $250 emergency in their life. The fuck are you thinking, dude? Did you get a hold of some bad weed? The fuck is wrong with you? You know, these rich people, I'm so sick of it. Joe Rogan is such a fucking hypocrite because he's the first one to be like, oh, look at all these people virtue signaling about, well, I did this and I did that and I did this. And then Joe Rogan's out there going, well, I don't understand why everybody just doesn't want to give up 25% more in taxes. Like, motherfucker, you pay an accountant every year to make sure that you get your maximum tax refund and that you have to pay the smallest amount in taxes. And then you want to go on your fucking podcast and say everybody needs to pay more in taxes? Dude, he's like, well, if we would have just had Bernie, then everybody could have paid more in taxes. Like, motherfucker, you don't need a president to make you pay more in taxes. You're allowed to pay more in taxes every single year. It's called 1040 EZ. Here's what you do, Joe Rogan. Here, give me $5. I'll be your fucking accountant, and I will ease your white guilt. Here's what you do. You file 1040 EZ on, you know, any of the numerous online sites. Super easy. Maybe go to Credit Karma. They have one. Go to, you know, tax refund, whatever. File your taxes. Take the minimum deduction of, I think it's $15,000. You know, take that minimum deduction. Then the IRS will say, oh, hey, Joe Rogan, you owe us $4 million. Now you can pay more in taxes instead of paying a $150,000 accountant to save you from having to pay $2 million in taxes. You fucking hypocrite. I'm so... You know, Jon Stewart... Oh, you're lucky there's a fucking Jeep behind me. Ooh. Jon Stewart was one of my favorite comedians of all time. I loved The Daily Show up until 2002. Until he got completely fucking burnt out and then he wasn't funny anymore. He was just angry. He had gone full libtard. And now he pulls Joe down that same road. Joe Rogan. Let me give my Jeep boy a fucking shout out. Yo! Ah, I love that Jeep. That's fucking gorgeous. I said, God damn! He called it the Black Mamba. Love it. So you got two fucking multi-millionaires telling the rest of us who are trying to survive on less than $60,000 a year that they want to take away 25% more of our money. Like, and if we would just vote for the right people, then everybody could pay their fair share in tax. Like, dude, I'm paying my fucking fair share. If you can't sit there with $15, $20 million in the bank and be like, well, look, I'll give up $5 million of my dollars. Look, I gave up 25% of my wealth. Why can't you do the same? It's like, bitch, how about this? Give me $15 million and I'll give up $7 million. I'll still have fucking $8 million more than I have right now. Why can you rich people not fucking understand this? Y'all want to tax the fucking shit out of us. And harken back to my older reviews. I grew up fucking poor on welfare. I grew up in that community. I know what my friends' parents did to keep on welfare. They didn't want to work because they could get more money from welfare. And the ones that did work knew that, oh shit, if I get 40 hours 3 weeks in a row, they're going to consider me full-time and they're going to take my money away. So now I got to take 3 days off, you know, to make everything balance out. I grew up in this shit. I know how they work the system. They don't want to work full-time. They want the free money from the government. They're kids that never grew up. They're the ones like, well, if I have to work more than 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I don't get summers off, well, I don't want to do that. They're 90% of them are fucking lazy. I've seen it firsthand. You can't tell me any differently. I grew up in San Bernardino until I was in junior high school, then back and forth to Tucson and back, from trailer park to trailer park, then in the high desert. I know how poor people cheat the system. My buddy, actually one of my ex-buddies, I don't like him anymore because he turned out to be a fucking backstabbing douchebag asshole. His mom lives in an Iowa floodplain. Now you might be saying, John, why does she live in an Iowa floodplain? Obviously, you know it's an Iowa floodplain and it's probably prone to floods. That's exactly why his mom lives there. Because every couple, 3-4 years, the floodplain floods, as floodplains do. It wipes out her trailer and all of her belongings that she's amassed in 3 or 4 years. FEMA comes in, pays for everything, and gives her all this extra money, and then she doesn't have a job. She lives off of welfare, collects that money, plus the FEMA money on top of it, and that holds her over for the next 3 or 4 years until the next flood comes through and destroys everything, and they repeat the cycle. We are incentivizing laziness. She hasn't had a job in 40 years that I know of. She had a couple kids, went on welfare, live in a floodplain. Once that first FEMA money came in for the first time, maybe she knew the first time, maybe she didn't know, who knows. But the fact was, the first time FEMA came in, gave her money for her flooded out house, bing, light bulb, I don't have to work, I can collect all this money from the government, every couple of years the flood's going to come in, FEMA's going to come in and take care of it. This is how poor people think, and especially lazy people. Most people are poor because they're lazy, or because they lack the ability to subscribe to the norms of society. Either they're mentally incapable of holding a full-time job, or they're just lazy. Those are the only 2 reasons that people are poor. Trust me, I seen it, I know it, I lived it. Anyway, for Joe Rogan and Jon Stewart to sit there and talk about bullshit that they have no comprehension of because they're standing on top of the fan looking down going, well, I don't understand. It's spinning counterclockwise to us. Why is it spinning clockwise to you? Again, until these fucking bitches want to give up all of their money except for what they want me to live on, you're a fucking asshole, hypocrite motherfucker. Because there's not one of you works fucking harder than me, but you, for whatever reason, you know, you had a skill that the public deemed was worth money. Fine, good for you. I'm not trying to take your fucking money. All I'm asking is that you don't fucking take mine. I'm busting my ass out here doing construction. Please don't penalize me for working harder than you are just because you're more comedic than I am. Anyway, that's my rant for today. I'm just coming off of a vacation. I had a wonderful week vacation until I saw that bullshit. Now Jon Stewart and Joe Rogan got me fucked up! Well, but not that much. I'm going to go see my horse. I got my little vacation going on. I hope that you all had a wonderful week. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you next time. Bye!